Hello, everyone. I am Verdel Jones, talk show host of Conversations with Verdel Jones, and I am also one of the stars of the family show called Let's Kick It with the Joneses. We are so excited that you decided to join our show today. Have you heard? A show powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. You know, there's nothing better than good talk with good friends, and that's what today's show aims to do. We hope that our conversation entertains and uplifts and empowers you to live your best life possible. We also want to make sure that you like and share this show, and make sure you comment too. So we want to hear from you. So comment in the comments in the chat section, and one of us will definitely get back to you. And we also want to remind you that if you want to see our show and more shows like it, you can visit ruderangers.com. So, as I said, there is nothing better than good talk with great friends. And I have the absolute pleasure of being a co-host with two wonderful, empowering women who, you know, their mission is to really empower others. And I'm so blessed to be part of this little Have You Heard group. And so let's have them, you know, say hello to everybody. We're going to start with Coach Heidi K.
Thank you for that introduction, Verdel. Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Heidi K. I'm a certified life and dating coach. I'm the host of the podcast Break Up to Breakthrough with Coach Heidi K. And I'm also at on the faculty of IPEC Coaching, training new coaches to do this work that I love every day. Really excited to talk with you and learn more about you.
And last but certainly not least, we have the Fitter Woman.
Hey fam, my name is Orlandina and I am the Fitter Woman. I'm the executive host and executive producer and host of Muscles and Stilettos. It's where I share tips and strategies to show you how to live your fittest, healthiest, and happiest life. And I'm here with these beautiful ladies just to share the knowledge and wisdom that we've acquired and learn and share with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I am so excited to be here today. This is awesome. You know, I mean, it's like girl power on steroids you got here. You know what I'm saying? You know, we you know, this has been such a busy time and there's so many different things going on. And one of the things that I know people love to do is like kind of lose themselves in a good book. I'm not one of those people.
She was gonna pull out a big old book. She was like,
but we have people who actually love to escape or read up on something that might be interesting. So what have you guys been reading? Coach Heidi K, what have you been reading lately?
So I've been reading an amazing book that is just really captivating me. It's called Maybe You Should Talk to Somebody by Lori Gottlieb. And it is about a therapist and her therapist and the whole parallel process of her life and her crises that she goes through and her growth in parallel with how she helps her clients go through similar themes. And they're all themes that everybody can relate to. And they're themes that I work with people on because the therapist in the book has just gone through a terrible breakup. And that's really how the book begins. So it's fantastic. And it's very relatable. Have you girls heard of anything about that book? Or
No. What is the name of it again, Heidi?
It's called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone.
Oh.
Do you like saying that to anyone?
yes. I got people. I think I need to talk to someone.
100.
I'm going to make us buttons that say that. Maybe right. Talk to someone.
I love that. You know what? That's a great idea. I love that.
I like that.
Shirts.
Talk to someone and underneath it, just not me. Not me.
Me?
Right. Or maybe a professional.
Maybe a professional. And under that, not me. Because people are so, there's so many negative things going on. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I know there's a lot of bad stuff happening. I don't want to hear it. Well, I'm not the professional. Thank you.
Right, yeah.
But that sounds like an awesome book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really recommend it.
Okay, maybe you should talk to some. What have you been checking out, Orlandina?
Don't laugh. I'm reading 2 books right now. The first book, this is called A Journey Inward. Not the one to laugh at, but A Journey Inward. And I actually know the author. It's my sensei. I study Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh.
And what he does.
Wait.
Just slipping that in.
I do.
I don't know about her yet.
It's like, well, now with everything going on, I haven't been on the mats for a while, but I got even up to my 3rd stripe as a white belt.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's very
You're impressive, powerful
I
woman.
know.
You're just slipping that in like, oh, I had a cup of coffee on my way over here.
And on the way, I stopped at the dojo and studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Exactly. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Orlandina. Go ahead.
Let me tell you, that'll be a story for another day, but I'll tell you what. I walked in there, I'm like, wow, these people are very sweaty and they're on top of each other. Now, I don't think this is for me. That place stayed in my mind so much that within 3 or 4 months, I went back and signed up and have not looked back since.
Wow.
I loved it.
Interesting.
But I had to kind of put it to the side just because I was training and, with COVID, everything shut down. So he's actually reopening soon. I'm excited.
Nice.
But it's written by Nardu Deborah and it's called A Journey Inward. And what he does is he takes different principles of jiu-jitsu and likens them to life. So something as simple as folding your gi, which is very important. After you practice, you take your gi, you sit down and you fold it. But in the process of folding, you are folding. You are living your life. He's using the analogy of folding the gi to life, slowing down, taking time, pressing, putting everything in its order, and that's how life is. So he takes different principles: bowing to the mat, humbling yourself, becoming an uke, which is a partner where you're being attacked. So just being humble and relaxed. So each principle that you learn on the mat, he just takes it and compares it to life. It's really good book. Great book.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it really does.
It really is good. And he's got such a great tone, like I can hear his voice because I know him, but I think if anybody were to read that, you would hear his voice. It's very calm. And then the other book, it's The Farmer's Almanac.
Real? Wow.
I love reading The Farmer's Almanac. I don't know why. I love seeing, what gardeners are doing and the moon, and it's really cool. I really like, and I'm just reading it like, oh, what's the date going to be? What's the weather going to be like on such date? I always find it interesting. The Farmer's Almanac.
So let me ask you a question. Since you read that, is the Farmer's Almanac true? Like, does it ring true?
I have found it to be pretty accurate.
Really?
I have. I've had events on certain dates and I'll look in the Farmer's Almanac and it has been true. Yeah. Wow. So it's been pretty accurate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
True confessions. I've never read the Farmer's Almanac.
No, me either.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there going, ooh, when should I plant my mums?
Right.
I mean, they even go down to telling you what's the best time to cut your hair. Like different activities.
Really?
Yeah. It's
that's
really
interesting.
It is. It breaks it down. It's by calendar, regions, talks about, there's even little articles, like this one talks about how to pick a pet. So.
Oh, wow. I need to pick that up. We've been talking about getting a dog.
So you should pick up the 2021 tag. It's like Reader's Digest.
Really? So my
that? Wow. Reader's Digest.
I know. Back in the day.
Yes.
So talking about the pets, my children, my grownish children, they want a dog. So I put them in charge of, okay, find out. I wanted not a puppy. We want to adopt. It has to be hyperallergenic. So, you have to do all these things and then we'll see about, you're in charge. So I gave them this task maybe about 4 months, maybe 3 months ago. Nothing happened. So
I don't want a dog.
I don't want a dog. I'm just waiting. So what would you suggest for someone who can't take the time to slow down to actually sit and read. You know, a lot of things that I read are information. It's only for information. I don't read for pleasure. I need to find the facts about some information. So I go to I read it, and that's it. So what would you suggest for somebody to do to start reading for pleasure? Heidi.
You know, I have similar struggles with getting myself to, you know, into a relaxed state enough to focus on the book, because I might open the book and then I'm thinking about all the things I need to do, and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So I've got to get into the frame of mind, sort of carve out the time. But one of the things that I do sometimes is Steve and I read together out loud, and it really keeps the focus going. And it's a really nice bonding activity. You know, with your partner, with a friend, with a family member, it's really nice to be read to. You know, so you read some of it and then the other person reads some of it, and then you can talk about it. So if it's a real thought-provoking book, it can lead to some good conversation.
I love that. That is awesome. And it is a bonding thing, right? You know, and like, you know, the book clubs and things like that, I think are good also.
Yes.
Just being able to, I like to talk. You know, Orlandina, we all like to talk. We're educators, basically.
The show.
Right, exactly. So that's a great way. You know, I think like book clubs are a great way because you can discuss, you know, what the book is about and, you know, kind of unpack it. I like to unpack things, and we probably all like to unpack things as well.
Get into it really deep.
Right.
I think another way is just to do audio books, like as you're driving to get into a book. I did that with one of Paulo Coelho's book. I read it, but then I listened to it again, but as an audio book. Nice. And I find that you can catch things that you may have missed in either modalities. So yeah.
Right. Different type of learners, right?
Yeah. Just can't still to read a book, but they're on their drive, you know, they can listen to it and they get the information as well.
Exactly. So you know what? Okay, I promise the next episode we have, I am going to share a book that I have actually read. So you know what?
We'll know if you didn't read it.
That's true. No, I'm going to read it.
Don't read the Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes. I remember Cliff Notes.
Remember those?
We're gonna take a quick break, and you're watching Have You Heard, a show powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back. I'm Verdel Jones, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Coach Heidi K and the fitter woman, Orlandina. Thank you so much for watching Have You Heard, a show powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment Network. And make sure that you like and share this episode so everybody can see what's going on with Have You Heard. So, let's just, jump right into it. Oh, and also make sure you comment. We want to hear from you, and we will be sure to get back to you. We talked about at the top of the show about how this, a lot's been going on. It's very tumultuous time within our society. And I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about lenses and how people perceive things. There's so much division within our country, which is very, very sad. And, I had a thought. I was thinking about 9/11. And when 9/11 happened, we coalesced as a country. We stood up and sang our national anthem, and we were proud Americans, and we all came together. And that was a national crisis. So now we're in the midst of another crisis, and there is such division. When we're supposed to be coming together as a country, we're not. So, but people see things differently. There's a different lens that individuals see things at. And I think we're at a point now where we're not understanding what lens people are looking through. Your experiences really kind of formulate the way that you think. And sometimes I think we're quick to make a rash decision, about what somebody is thinking, but not really fully understanding where their perspective might be and what their lens might be. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. We have conversations in our home about this as well, because sometimes we're so quick to react about things instead of taking a step back and saying, hey, maybe this is how they perceive it. Can we honor and respect that and come to some understanding? So those are some of the things that, I've been thinking about as our country is kind of grappling with this sense of uncertainty and division,
It's interesting that you say that, because those are sometimes I say, when somebody has a point of view that I may not necessarily agree with, I always want to try to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And because the thing is, it's one I can understand if I may not agree with it, but I need to understand why you feel the way you do, because I can't dismiss it, because you feel it. You feel right. And you feel strongly about it, whatever it may be, just as I feel strongly about my point of view. Case in point, I remember hearing about Candace Owens. Candace Owens. And I know we don't talk politics, so I'm not going to say a stance one way or another in regards to her, but I'm like, who is this woman? And why are we so, why is she being villainized in her way of thinking? So I can't agree or disagree because I didn't know who she was. So I started to do some research and really read up on her and see who she is. And I'll keep my personal opinion to myself. It's neither here nor there. But I had to understand where she was coming from. People such as her, Larry Elder, these are Black conservatives. And what is the Black conservative? What is their philosophy? Why do they feel the way that they do? Whether I agree with them or disagree with them, that doesn't matter. But I needed to understand from what position they were coming from. I can't dismiss them. I had to understand. So I understand where they're coming from. I have my own opinions, but I understand where they're coming from. And I think that's very, very important to understand where people are coming from, instead of just dismissing them.
Absolutely. And I think that's how our country has gotten to where we are, because everybody is dismissing whoever has another point of view. I think we're, most or many of us are guilty of that at times. So, without getting into politics, for 4 years, two sides have been dismissing the other side like their opinion doesn't exist. And guess what? It doesn't work. The other opinion isn't going away because the other people are just as invested in their opinion.
Very true.
And they're thinking, I'm just as crazy as one side's thinking the other side is crazy. And we keep on thinking the other side will see the light, whatever the other side is, but the other side isn't isn't seeing the light. They're waiting for you to see the light.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we keep dismissing, we're not going to dig out of this.
No. And it's a situation. So I go back to 9/11. We, like I said, we did coalesce around this common, cause, if you will, and really just being upset and mourning. Really, we were in a season of mourning of the tragedy that happened during 9/11. And what is the difference between what happened 9/11 and as opposed to a tragic pandemic that's going on now that's killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it's just amazing how we got so far from being together and uniting as a country.
It's such an important comparison, because I remember 9/11 clear as day, and to get through that unspeakable tragedy, I think we all felt, I know I felt love and support, to get through a tragedy with love and support is so much different than getting through it with strife. Like, you don't know what you could say to who and what they're going to say back. And it's just completely different. And I miss that time of unity.
Yeah,
of course,
me too.
I don't miss tragedy, but I really miss the time of unity. I felt it so strongly.
It was palatable. Like it was something that was in the atmosphere, that energy, you could feel that.
Yes.
I think with 9/11, it was them versus us. Us versus us.
Right.
It's like if you're siblings, you'll fight amongst your brothers and sisters, but God help the person that comes in.
Oh, good point.
You're going in, when they're right, they're right. When they're wrong, they're right. It doesn't matter.
That's true.
I think that was the biggest thing. It was somebody came to our house and attacked us.
Right.
And so we were so violated. There was no race that was differentiated. There was no race that was pointed out, no religion that was pointed out, no gender that was pointed out. It was just one whole building and what that building stood for the country. So the country felt violated. So, and I think that's why they were able to rally together and say we are one people. I remember that. The baseball field, we are one people, one religion, one this, one that. I mean, that sense of unity. But with what happened to us this year, it was division it's fighting within the household. And see fighting within the family. Man, we can go in because you know each other so intimately. So you know all the trigger points. You know exactly how to get in there and really just get
that gets
being hostile.
Really bitter and painful. Really bitter and painful. Imagine, we're going through a few crises simultaneously.
Yes.
But if we take the pandemic, imagine if we all approached it the way Orlandina was just talking about, like it's us against the virus.
The virus, right.
We all united against the virus like that.
Yes.
We would be in a very different place right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you have those conversations? Because, I work in a pretty homogeneous environment, being the only one within my district for the most part. And I still try to have those conversations, but they're difficult conversations to have without seeming like, I don't know, they're uncomfortable. So how do you begin to have those discussions with individuals that might be opposite to what you believe, but at the same time you want to give them some understanding, and sometimes you're the only one in that space being able to speak of certain topics?
Yeah.
Uncomfortable conversation. My girlfriend and I were talking about that uncomfortable conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my girlfriends, is she had to have an uncomfortable conversation with someone. She said, you have to ask yourself, from what place are you having this conversation? Are you having it from a place of love? Are you bringing in a place of light? Are you coming in truly waiting to hear what that person has to say?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to have the uncomfortable conversation, you have to know from what energy are you carrying into this conversation, because it is difficult and you don't know how that person's going to react.
Yeah.
So if you're doing it from a place of true just love and understanding and she had it, and she said it was just so well received because of how she came into it. Yes. So I think that's one thing.
All about the energy you bring.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely.
Another thing I would say is looking for some common ground. Like, when we were all waiting for the election results, if you could reach out to people and maybe say something like regardless of what candidate you're rooting for, we're all feeling super uncomfortable when days are passing after election day and we don't know the results. Those couple of days were just so disconcerting.
It really was.
So I think that's like a common ground that even if you're different from someone politically, you could relate to each other around that. So just kind of desperately finding some common ground.
Something where you can kind of, open up that dialogue. And I think it's so important that, that we see each other. That's the other thing. We need to see each other. And it goes back to the lens, because if I see you, then I can better receive what you're saying. If I dismiss you and don't see you, then I'm more likely to shut down and not listen. I'm just waiting for your, I'm just waiting to attack you. So I think there needs to be some type of, like you said, the love part, absolutely. And being able to see individuals as true individuals who have opinions and thoughts and have their own baggage or their own experiences that they bring to the table.
Yeah.
I think that right there, that says it all. Because if you sum it up, to truly hear you and to truly come from a place of love, to have a difficult conversation, I think those are great starting points.
Absolutely.
So now we want to hear what you have to say about this. How do you have those difficult conversations with people you love or even coworkers or whatever it is? How do you have your conversation? So definitely leave your comments below. And we're going to go off to these commercial messages and get back to you here. Don't forget, click share. And we'll be back.
I'm Dan O'Shea, Executive Director for Lawrence Haven Homeless Outreach. It is our mission to support the homeless in our community, and we do that with the support of so many volunteers just like yourself. To help us, please go to www.lawrencehaven.org.
With Have You Heard, powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. Great to be back with my co-hosts, Orlandina and Verdel. And we've been talking about truly listening. And so I want to, kind of take that a step further and talk about maybe some listening strategies that we can really take home with us to have some of these difficult conversations that we started to discuss before the break. And so it really all starts out, as we were saying before, with the energy you bring. If you're coming from the energy of curiosity versus coming from the energy of judgment. When you're coming from the energy of curiosity and you also are carrying the energy of empathy, you can have almost any conversation. So now when you enter the conversation and you really want to listen, that means you take away distractions. Yes, it means you're not looking at your phone. I know that's rough for all of us, for me sometimes too, actually many times, okay? So all the distractions are put aside and your eye contact and your facial expression and your body language is completely focused on the person that you are speaking with. And you are not, capital N-O-T, thinking about how you're going to respond to what they're saying. You're not freaking formulating your response, because that's not listening. You are clearing your mind and fully absorbing what is being said to you. That is step one. Mm-hmm. I love how it's resonating with you, ladies. What do you think about what I'm sharing so far?
It's so
true. It's so true. People are talking to you and you're just like already in your brain. I know I do it, and I try, and I'm aware of it. So I try to really be like, to say to myself, stop trying to come up with a solution. Like, listen first. Mm-hmm. Let them finish talking. Wait for that natural pause. And then if they even ask you for your opinion, sometimes people just want to talk to just have to release. They're not looking for you to fix anything. They just want to be there to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so difficult because you want to help so much. You know, I just want to help, but sometimes helping is just being there.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounding board, right?
Sounding board.
Yeah.
Let people come with their own stuff.
And I think the listening, I think there's such thing as selective listening. It's not here. Selective hearing, I get, but listening is different than hearing. Mm-hmm. But I think what happens is, I know, especially in my profession, and being an educator, I can listen really good to certain people, but certain people I just don't want to listen to.
Then you have to take out your button that says maybe you should talk to someone.
Exactly.
The analogies I give to my students, they'll say, "No, miss, I was listening." I'm like, "No, you were hearing me."
Right.
You were hearing noise coming out of my mouth. You heard sound. Yeah. I sounded like Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown, right.
You heard that.
Yeah.
But listening means you actually took the words and absorbed it.
Right.
In your ear and kind of sat in your brain. So which one was it? What was happening?
Mm-hmm.
Listening. It is two different skill sets.
Yeah.
Two different things.
And when you are really giving somebody that gift of truly listening to them, that right there is a healing process beginning. When somebody really feels heard, if we think about it on a daily basis, how often do we really feel heard when we speak? Many people go day after day without feeling heard, sometimes more than that. We talk and like you said, Orlandina, somebody hears the noise, but are they truly listening? So when you're truly listening, the healing starts right there, and you're really building a bond and a connection and setting the stage for a really successful conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're listening, your response, rather than whatever you might have been conjuring up in your mind before you learned these strategies, now what you're going to do is simply reflect back what you've heard the person share with you. Summarize it in your own words. And check that you're right. Check that you got it right. So right there, you're getting on the same page. So first of all, when you kind of summarize what you heard them say, you're giving the person evidence that you are listening. Right there, they know that you are listening. Mm-hmm. And you're giving them a chance to say, well, that's not exactly what I meant. Right. And they can tweak it. They can add to it. They can correct it. So it might feel a little uncomfortable at the beginning, but if you get in the habit of really just summarizing what you've heard somebody say, it can be a really, really effective listening tool. And it helps us to kind of focus during those moments. So our mind doesn't start wandering to, what am I going to have for dinner? Or how am I going to refute that point? Right. It's just, all I'm going to do is say what I heard.
Right.
Yeah. Sure what do you think, Verdel?
With the listening part, because I love that you said there's such a distraction. My counselors, they tease me because they'll be talking to me about something. What do we need to do with this? What do we need to do with this? And all of a sudden my brain will go this way and I'm like, what am I going to have for dinner?
Yeah.
And and I say it out loud and they know it. So they actually developed a strategy. One of my counselors in particular has developed a strategy where he'll just pick up his fingers, like over here.
That's cute. That's a cute rapport you have.
Stay here.
Right here.
Right here.
Because it's because our lives are so busy and we're thinking about 10,000 things. I know some nights I can hardly get to sleep because I'm thinking about what I have to do the next day.
Oh, yes.
So it is that listening, and you have to just take, and I can do it with the students, because that I just feel that I can do it. I can do that. But sometimes with other people, even, in a relationship, it's very hard to stay focused. But I think you need to be very cognizant of it and methodical about your listening.
Yes.
You have to.
It's kind of about setting the intention.
Yeah.
So not just kind of going through the day haphazardly, I'm listening, I'm not, but like before the conversation, I'm going to really focus and listen right here.
Yeah, you have
And then when we're listening, what we want to be listening for is not just the information that the person is sharing, because of course we want to be hearing that. We want to be listening sort of behind what they're sharing. So we want to be listening for their emotion.
Yeah.
We want to be listening for their energy. We want to be listening for their, the qualities and characteristics that are becoming evident about them as they're sharing. Again, from a place of curiosity, not judgment. So I might identify from talking with you that family's really important to you. So you might be telling me a story about what you cooked for dinner, but what I'm getting from it is how important family is for you. So that's what you want to be listening behind the words, for emotions, for values, for energy. And that's going to tell you so much more than just the words themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you ladies think about that?
I remember taking a undergraduate class. I went to the American University, the School of International Service. And the reason why I'm saying that is because my major in undergrad was international relations and communication. And I remember taking a class called cross-cultural communication. And we talked about topics such as communication among gender, communication among age groups, communication among cultures, obviously, communications across I think I said gender, but also race, how the communication styles are different. And I remember they were talking about how communication is not just the words that we speak, but also the energy, what is unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Not only just what's spoken, but what is unspoken. For example, your culture is not just what we see, but Edward T. Hall had this iceberg model. The culture is culture's not, we just see a little bit, but your culture runs deep.
Yes.
So just understanding where people are coming from when they're speaking to you, it means that you have to be present when they're speaking. And I definitely have to work at that. That's something like I'm good at it sometimes, and other times like my brain is like you said, what am I gonna wear?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah,
right.
It's part of the human condition. It's part of the human condition, and it's an ongoing journey and process. It's all about building the awareness, as you say. Awareness is the first step towards any positive change.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Knowing that you're doing it. I listened to a talk show host in the morning called, his name is Joe Madison. And he also he talks about listening with the third ear. And that's kind of what we're saying, looking at with the third eye and listening with the third ear. Because there are you can gain a lot of insight if you listen. And I think sometimes things are lost on people because they don't really listen, and they don't listen with that third ear, so to speak.
Yeah.
They really don't, and it's just what you said, that energy and what they're really saying, as opposed to what's coming out of their mouth.
Yeah, and I think when you're having a difficult conversation, when you're in disagreement.
Yeah,
we can train ourselves to be thinking as the person is talking, what positive quality can I identify about this person? What's a positive characteristic or quality trait that I can recognize? I like to call it being a good quality hunter. Like, you got to put on your hunting gear, and with some people you got to hunt harder than others.
Like that.
You really got to clear out the weeds.
It's a safari.
Put the branches aside. Get on that safari. For any person, as much as you might dislike them, there is something positive you can identify. And then when you're listening,
everybody. I'm
gonna set up a challenge for us, everybody, until we do our next show. Identify one thing in your mind. Are you all with me out there? I want to see in the comments.
Right.
You got to keep up with us and tell us what positive qualities you found in people.
You have to.
Even the people that you thought you didn't like.
Yes.
So I may be losing track of time here a bit, and I think we need to go to a commercial break. Am I right, Orlandina and Verdel?
Yeah, but this is a good topic. I get it.
I lost the time. Yikes.
But tell us what positive qualities, because this is going to be good. What positive qualities have you found in people that you weren't a fan of?
Oh,
you can make something up, Orlandina. You can make it up. They have a good smile.
A positive quality you might find is you might recognize that they're very determined. You might not like them. You might not like a lot of things about them, but an example might be that they're very determined. Persistent. You might even find the quality, you might not like them, but maybe they have a certain charisma that attracts people.
Yeah, so, I could think of somebody. I'm not going to say it, but yes, that's what happens.
Yeah. We're not naming names.
Not naming names.
Not naming names, but you know what? That's a good activity. I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Let's do it. And you guys, you all have to help us out here. We want to see it in the comments.
Absolutely.
So you're listening to Have You Heard? Powered by Rude Rangers, and we will be right back. So keep on waiting for us. And while you're waiting, share, comment, ask your questions, and don't go away.
Dropping gems from Keisha Christian. She's on a mission, sharing information, knowledge for soul, body and mind. Dropping gems, KeishaGems.com, KeishaGems.com.
Hey fam, welcome back to Have You Heard? Powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. And welcome back to my beautiful co-hosts, Verdel Jones and Coach Heidi K. And we've been talking about, just listening, how to listen, and how to really see from the perspective of someone else that we're having a conversation with, whether we agree with them or not. And so I really want to take that. And I was like, wow, this is such a great conversation. I wanted to talk about voice. So I think seeing, hearing, speaking, and learning the sound of your own internal voice is very important, because once you know the sound of your voice, you can truly sit down and understand somebody else's voice. I wanted to read an excerpt from my book, shameless plug, my book, Seasons of Her, A Journey of Womanhood. which is broken up into seasons, and each season has a particular purpose, a lesson, and it really gets you prepared for the next season, right? So I wanted to read from the winter season, which I feel is, it really shows that is the time in our life where we really have to learn to sit still and sit quietly. So I'll read one paragraph. As you move deeper into your winter months and begin to delve deeper into your heart, you begin to hold a mirror to your soul and see the true reflection of yourself. It can be startling and frightening experience that freezes you in your tracks, right? So this is the time where you have to really sit still and learn the sound of your voice. And this is the time where you kind of have to be alone. And a lot of us are afraid of being alone because we don't like the sounds that are coming out of our heart, the sounds that are coming out of our minds, because these are sounds that we've kind of squelched away or, just hidden away into our busy agenda and busy days. And when we don't do that, we never truly learn the sound of our voice and learn to see who we really are. So we need to take time, especially with everything that's going on. It's kind of caused society to come to a standstill. And we have gotten to the opportunity to really sit still and to learn the sound of our voice. And the strength in doing that is that we begin to rally the strength of being able to say, nah, I don't think that's going to work for me. Or no, I don't want that. Or this is what I want. So I think everything that we've been talking about with this conversation is the fact to see each other, to hear, to truly hear one another, and to learn the sound of our voice. I think that is super important. I think they all go together. What are you thinking, Verdel?
Absolutely. That is so powerful. And I know for myself personally, I got married when I was very, very young. And, we talked about that a little bit. And so finding my voice at an older age, I think was a hard thing for me to actually do. But I was able to do that. And I realized that just being by yourself is a powerful thing. And I went on a trip by myself to St. Lucia. And
I love that island. It's like one of my favorite islands.
And because, like I said, I was married young, and we've had issues in the past, and thank goodness we were able to come out of that. But I had an opportunity to really look inside myself and get to know me and find my own voice. And like you said, know that, I'm not okay with certain things, but also to recognize who you are and what your faults may be, what your strengths might be. So I think it's very important for you to be able to do a self-assessment, but to be able to be still and use discernment and just be able to live with yourself to find that out. And I think that's so powerful. And I think that people really, really need to find time to do that for themselves. It'll only make you better.
Yeah.
It's really challenging to do it. Mm-hmm. It's really challenging to do it because I can't tell you how many times I've set the goal of meditating regularly. Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to meditate regularly, but something gets in my way. Mm-hmm. And maybe there's something I don't know, I'm afraid to hear inside my head. I can't put my finger on why it feels uncomfortable for me. I'm not uncomfortable being alone. Mm-hmm. Being alone. But when I take away every distraction and it's just me and my thoughts, or trying to surpass my thoughts, that I find a real challenge. What's your advice? What's your advice on that?
What I found when I was going through that season, and the thing is, I want people to understand that just because winter, it could be winter, you could be living in a winter season. It doesn't necessarily match up with the calendar season.
Right.
So it could be just a time in your life where it's winter, and guess what? It comes back. It's cyclical. It's not like, oh, that's it. I'm only going to go through this winter season once. it comes back. But the whole idea is to recognize it when you're in it. You're like, I'm in my winter season. I understand why I don't feel like being around people and why I need to feel the need to be by myself and not be afraid of it. But like you said, Heidi, a lot of times when we try to sit still and like you said, it's just me and the sound of my voice, maybe sometimes sitting still, it may be scary, it may be uncomfortable. Maybe instead of sitting still, maybe you can write. Because that's another way I found my voice was just writing, just getting up in the morning before the day got into it. And there's an activity called morning pages. And I would literally have a notebook underneath my pillow. The pen is in there. And I would literally wake up, roll, open my eyes, and whatever was in my heart, I just wrote and just let it spill out. So maybe I couldn't think about it and meditate and pray on it. Maybe my mind wasn't still enough for that. Maybe I just needed to let the pen just move and let the words just come out of it. Now, when I look back at it, I'm like, good Lord, what did I write? Because it's just like all over. But it was just the act of writing it, the act of the release and seeing what my thoughts were. And then when I was at a different place, maybe I go back and then look at it and say, okay, now where am I? What's going on?
I think it's difficult with finding that time. Heidi, I agree, finding that time to be able to do it. I was just thinking this morning, when I was younger, I used to get up and it would take me, no time to get ready. Now when I get up, there's, I have to, first of all, I can't see. So I have to try to focus my eyes. And then, I have all these like rituals. Like I use this thing called Navage that clears out my nose, and then I'm using my eye drops, and then I'm taking this medication, and I'm like trying to stretch to make sure that I'm okay. So I have a lot of things that I need to do in the morning.
You need a nap after that. Time for a nap.
So when do I find time to be able to do some of that stuff? That's hard. It's very difficult. Time is really.
It's really.
We have to make the time because, like you said, you took time to go away to find the sound of your voice.
I was in a bad place.
You could have just stayed in that bad place and never moved forward. So you made the time. Am I saying that? Look, we are all busy professional women. You're not going to have time every single day. But even if you wake up on a Saturday morning when the house is still quiet, or a Sunday morning, the house is still quiet, just write a little bit or go for a walk, because I find that it's the solo activities is where we get to learn. Going for a walk, going for a drive, without the people in the car. I'm going to go food shopping. No, you can't come with me. Just to be alone in our thoughts, so that we can really learn the sound of our voice. Because like you said, we said in different parts today, was everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard. And everybody wants to be able to speak. They want to be heard but they need to be able to speak, and they need to find that voice. And we need time to silence the outside world, the outside opinions, the outside vision of us. So to make that, we don't have a choice, because I found it was interesting. I went car shopping last month, and let me tell you, it is I hate car shopping, and I use that word on purpose. Hate.
Right.
I hate it. I hate it because I always feel like somebody's always trying to get over. These people want to sell the car at some overpriced point, and as a woman, you walk in, they're like, stand next to her. Let me see what I can get out of her. And I went into it with that mindset. So that did not last very long. And finally, after a couple weeks, I was like, all right, you really need to get this car. And I went into it. I said, okay, now you're not going to go in with that mindset. You're going to go in, you're going to tell them what you want. And that's because I've learned to speak. And it took me time to get to that place. But I went in there and I said, I've done my research. These are the 3 cars I'm looking at. Yours is one of them. This is the model. This is with the and this is what I want. And please don't do that whole rigmarole with the pricing. When I come to you, I just want to test drive the car, and I want you to sit down and tell me the numbers. Don't tell me anything else, just that.
And go to the manager, right? All that.
All of that. I said, don't do all of that. I hate that. And so because I said I don't like that, it's a waste of my time. everybody was very receptive. And can I tell you, this was the most pleasant car buying experience I've had. I went to 3 dealerships for 3 different cars, and each person served me with such respect.
Wow.
And with each of them, I wish I could have given each of them a commission, because I was just received in a different light, but I went into it with a different spirit too. And I learned the sound of my voice, and I knew how to say what I wanted and what I didn't want. And they were very receptive. So it was the most positive car buying experience I've ever had.
Really empowering.
Yeah.
It felt empowering. So I'm like, I'm going to tell every single woman this.
It was all about adjusting your expectations and really communicating clearly, and speaking up, like you said, using your voice. And Verdel, you were talking about we don't have the time, and I feel like I operate with that scarcity mentality around time very often. There's very commonly a scarcity mentality around money. It's all a matter of perception. I know I'm working on my scarcity mentality around time. But it's all what you're telling yourself. It's all what I'm telling myself. If I tell myself there's not enough time in a day and I don't have time to meditate or I don't have time to journal, then that's what's going to be. But if I tell myself, hey, this is what I need, this is what I want, I'm going to find the time to do it, then no time is just an illusion.
That's right. I love that. You're absolutely right. 100%.
Ladies, this conversation is just amazing. And it's always, you ladies always give me something to take home, my little pearl of wisdom to take home. And I will say, today, I would say my takeaway is get rid of that scarcity mentality. I like that, Coach Heidi K. That get away from that. I have enough time because I want the time. I'm going to make the time. I went into that, I want this car. So I made time. This is what I want. I have the money. I make the money. I have everything that I need to start working on getting rid of that scarcity mentality and get rid of that phrasing, I don't have enough of fill in the blank. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
I mean, and as you said, Orlandina, anytime that we get together, there's so many things that resonate with me that I take away. I feel empowered, definitely after we talk about things, because we do have a lot of perspectives, that we bring to the table. So what resonates with me today is just realizing that how important our voice is and how important it is to listen to individuals without coming up with your own idea of your attack after they tell you what's going on and being that's right, exactly, and that stance, you're ready to go. So it's just a great opportunity I love the exchange of information and ideas and perspectives that we have.
Yeah, I'm always inspired by our conversations too, and talking about what we really want. One of the things that came out of our conversation that I really want is to get back to that feeling after 9/11 of love and support and unity. And I don't want to have that scarcity mentality of, oh, it can't be, it's never going to be, it's not. No, it can be. That's what I want, then that's what I need to go for. That's what I need to create. I need to create that reality. I want that feeling of love and unity. It really was bringing tears to my eyes when you brought that back. And it seems like so long ago, but yet I can remember it so clearly. So let's get there. Let's get there.
Let's do this.
Not to the tragedy part, to the unity part.
Unity, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think as we wrap it up, I think it'll be everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard, everybody wants to belong. We all want to belong. We all want to be part of one thing,
yes,
one tribe. So I love it. So this has been Have You Heard? And I want to thank my beautiful co-host, Coach Heidi K. and Verdel Jones. And ladies, tell them where they can find you.
Oh, that's right. You can find me at verdeljones.com, and you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Deli Teach.
I'm Coach Heidi K. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and join my Facebook group, Break Up to Breakthrough with Coach Heidi K. Come on over and listen to my podcast with the same name, Break Up to Breakthrough with Coach Heidi K. My website is Reinvention Life Coaching, and I have loved talking with you.
And you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Fitter Woman. And you can find me right here on Rude Rangers Entertainment on my show, Muscles and Stilettos. And I have a radio show coming up very soon. So definitely stay tuned for that. And of course, my website, thefitterwoman.com. It has been a pleasure sharing with you all. Please go ahead and leave your comments down below. And don't forget to share.